right. I am Rebecca, and this is Aliah with Inland Empire Couples Counseling. And we are talking today about what to expect from online couples counseling. Because we want to let people know it's a little bit different. Or doing things online is not what most people think of first when you think of couples counseling. So we want you to know what to expect. First thing, Aliah.
Yes. So your therapist will guide you. So when you first come in, there's going to be some assessments. We're going to get to know the history of the relationship, how it started, if you're married, what it was like before you got married, if there was any differences once you became married. We'll get all that background information that we deem is very important to see the highlights and the strengths in your relationship, but also to really understand maybe some of the challenges you guys have faced as well. So we'll guide that first session. We'll prompt you with all different types of questions, really just to get to know you as a couple. Because in couples therapy, whether it's in person or online, the relationship is the client. So we really, really, really want to get all the information that we can about the relationship.
Right. And I know that sometimes before coming to a first session, someone who's never done it before might have some anxiety about, like, I don't know what to prepare for. And you might be sort of ready to just kind of word vomit all of the problems that you have, or you might have some anxiety about, I don't know what we should share. Do we lay it all out on the table? How does this go? And we want you to know that your therapist has a structure. They come to the session totally prepared for what questions they know that they want to ask you. And you need to show up and relax and just answer the questions that are asked. It should be pretty straightforward, and you don't have to worry too much about what to say because your therapist will prompt you.
Yes, absolutely.
And where we start out with almost everybody is getting to know your goals. Mm-hmm. What is it that you even want from your relationship?
Yeah. So really discovering and collaborating with each other, right? Because we want to work on the relationship of how do we get to the point that we want to be in our relationship. And that looks different from every couple. So instead of giving everyone a cookie cutter goal of, I want this, I want that, we really want to work with you guys individually as a couple to really identify your goal for your relationship and what you define as healthy. Mm-hmm. And we collaborate with that. I'll help you with your terminology. We'll work on how to make it a goal, because sometimes that could be a challenge in itself. We have an idea of what we want, but it may be a struggle to even kind of articulate that. So hopefully your therapist will guide you and give you the support in identifying and creating those goals as a couple. And then the same thing with the problems. What is it that we need to work on? Right? What are we working on in session? Is it communication? Is it forgiveness? Is it infidelity? Is it trust issues? Like what are the problems? And we want to make sure our goals are matching what we're working on, right? We want to make sure that those are going hand in hand, because we don't want to be saying our goal is one thing and then we're working on completely different problems and then your goal is not being reached. So we want to make sure we're being effective and supportive to the relationship, and we want to make sure that the clients or the relationship is really clear on what the presenting problems are, what they're seeking therapy for, and their goals of that they want to accomplish to end therapy.
And sometimes these things are harder than they seem like they should be. Mm-hmm. Where a couple comes in, it's like, well, I don't really know what it is that we want, but I'm not even sure what's wrong, but I know I'm not happy.
Yes.
And the therapist can help you, ask some questions and help you figure out or paint a picture or, find the right words to describe, well, this is the thing that we're working toward. And these are the things that are getting in the way of that. And sometimes even just having words for it is in itself hopeful and, steps toward change. And then we'll also always talk to you about what you've tried already to solve the problems, because we don't want to give you a bunch of suggestions of things that you already know don't work.
Right. So really that history piece is really good, right? When we talk about the history, we also want to know, like Rebecca said, is what you tried. So if you've been to therapy before, what did you like or didn't like from your previous therapist? Or if you done some, like, there's a lot of apps out nowadays that you maybe tried some apps and what you did like and what you didn't like. Because again, we want to, as therapists, we really want to try to create this environment for you to feel comfortable and to be vulnerable and open. And we do that by not just giving everyone the same environment. And we learn that based off of getting the knowledge of what worked and didn't work for you in the past. And if it's your first time, that's even good information to know, right? Because with first time, maybe you have more questions. We want to leave more space for you to ask more questions and to get more insight. So knowing what you tried already is very beneficial to a therapist. So we aren't just, you're like, I heard this before, and
Right. So
we're
we
wasting
can
your
help you
time.
better.
Exactly.
And along that vein, we'll also talk about expectations for therapy.
So expectations, I mean, that's just good to know. We want to know what you're expecting to gain, right? And making sure that they're realistic, right? And even in expectations, sometimes even discussing a time frame, right? If your expectation is if there was some infidelity and it's for forgiveness and you only want to come 3 times, is that expectation realistic? Right. So it's very important for the therapist to discuss expectations of therapy, but even expectations of doing therapy online, right? Expectations of being on time, logging in on time, making sure you're in a secure place, right? All those kind of things fall under expectations.
Right. There's something else I was going to say in there while you were talking. Along with expectations, when we hear what your goals are, what it is that you want to accomplish, if we know that couples therapy isn't the right thing to help you meet your goals, at least at our office, we'll tell you that. We're not going to keep you in therapy just because we want to have lots of clients or something. Like, if we know that what you want isn't something that we're able to give you, we will let you know that and refer you out or help you figure out who would be the right person or what is the right resource to try to meet those goals, so that you aren't set up to have your hopes dashed, or you're not set up to be disappointed. Like, we know what it is that we can offer and we will deliver on those things. And we also want you to have realistic expectations of each other too, as partners. And we will talk about how we'll know when we're done.
Yes.
It's sort of like goals, but a little bit different.
It is. It's nothing, how we know we're done is more if you're in phase of therapy, whether that's in person or via web or phone. And it's good to ask yourself that question in the beginning, because when you want to be able to identify, oh, we're at this place. Because it's very easy to get comfortable in having a weekly routine of a place where you can check in, you can process, you could be vulnerable, this safe place you create, that you may bypass. Oh, we reached all our goals, but I don't want to leave because it's this great environment. You had such a great experience. But we want to know when you're done. So one, we can highlight all the growth and the change that you guys see in your relationships. But two, it isn't the best practice to just keep you on just because you like speaking to a therapist. It's if you reached your goals and you are completely satisfied and your relationship is in a good standing, then maybe we should look at terminating and adjusting our schedule. So knowing when you're done, that's a question I personally ask. How do you know when you're done in our first session? What would that look like? What does it look like for your relationship? How do you know that you have completed therapy and you guys are in a healthy place?
Right.
And
How
once
will
they
you know
can
you don't
answer
need this
that.
anymore?
Huh?
How will you know you don't need this anymore?
Yes. Because, I mean, we like to think we'll be here forever, but it's not a forever thing, right? It is a long process, and it is a process that you need to be patient with, but it's definitely not something forever.
Right. And then our last thing for what to expect from online couples therapy is that you have some type of secure video option.
So what we do at our office here at Inland Empire's Couple Counseling is we send a link, a private secure web link that is different each time our clients log on for their session, to their email that we have on file. And that link takes them to our secure video. And it is HIPAA compliant, so we want to make sure that we're following all the HIPAA guidelines to protect our clients and to protect ourselves. And with that, knowing that it's a secure video, hopefully that kind of takes some of that anxiety away. Make, sometimes you're like, what's my hack, or what if somebody do this or that, right? So hopefully it takes your worry and fear regarding doing telehealth away. Is that most therapists, if not, all therapists, honestly, should be using some form of a secure video that is HIPAA compliant to give you and protect your confidentiality.
Right. And at our office, for couples sessions, we prefer video sessions to phone sessions, so that you don't miss out on that opportunity, one, for the therapist to see your facial expression and maybe be able to tune into how you're feeling or how you're responding to something without having to hear it. But you also get the benefit of experiencing your therapist as a person in real time, versus a disembodied kind of voice. And sometimes, if we're sitting like this, you maybe can't see full body language, but you get to see facial expressions more, because like this, we're sitting a lot closer together. You can see more of my face and those expressions than if we were in an office in person. And so, there's sort of pros and cons either way. But if you're looking at online couples counseling, you definitely should expect and ask for your therapist to have a secure video option. Any last thoughts on this, Aliah?
Yeah, I think like Rebecca just hit on it, the importance of being able to make that connection, to see, as a therapist, to see my couples interact. Like if someone is feeling sad, to see how the partner consoles them, or to see how they comfort them or support them. I think that's great for us to see, because that's something we can highlight. And we wouldn't be able to do that necessarily just over the phone. So, body language is such a big thing in therapy and just in language in general, and being able to truly witness it in the comfort of your home. So maybe you would do something that maybe you wouldn't do in the office because you are in your home, or maybe you'll kiss or something like that. So, having that secure video option is definitely a benefit for the therapist, but it's also the benefit for the client as well, right? Because sometimes therapists model behavior, right? And if we're modeling or trying to give an example or do role playing, we even hit on role playing, right? We do some role playing. Having this option of being able to, if I'm saying you're not listening to me and I'm rolling my eyes, you can see that, right? And being able to witness it and being able to point it out as a therapist is very helpful in throughout our treatment process, for sure.
Right. And I think you hit on something important there with the observation piece. Like for people who maybe haven't been in therapy before and don't quite know what to expect, couples therapy is more than a place where you just go to have your fights and have someone referee them. But your therapist is highly trained and will observe the way that you speak to each other, the nonverbals, the way that the other person is receiving what you're saying, and will give you some coaching for how to, sometimes how to get out of your own way, sometimes how to say things in a way that your partner can receive them. Sometimes the coaching that we give is how to tune in better to your partner's emotional experience. And sometimes we can get that because we're able to observe how the two of you are interacting with each other, which is so much more than just being a referee for the fight and saying, well, you're wrong and you need to change.
Right.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yes. Which is a huge part of what couples therapy has to offer. It's great. We, of course, think that it's great.
I think we may be a little biased, but we're here to help.
Maybe a little bit biased, but we do also know what we're doing.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, if you have any additional questions, if you would like to set up an appointment with one of our therapists, you can head on over to our website at iecouplescounseling.com. Thanks so much, Aliah.
Bye.